Let the joyous news be spread. The wicked old witch at last is dead. She's not dead. That's fake news. She's not dead, but she's retiring, and that's like the next best thing. That's like, what's up? What's up? This is Mark K. Saves the Republic, and I welcome all Patriots far and wide, liberty-loving, freedom-defending Patriots. I am here. What has been? I have to tell you, I can't remember a busier day than I'm having today. We have not had a day this busy in a very, 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 very long time. I've been sitting here at Patriot HQ in Mar-a-Lago in illustrious downtown Jacksonville, Florida, and I've just been pelted left and right from the time I woke up this morning. And I wake up pretty early. I'm not going to lie to you. I would never lie to you. I only tell you the truth. This is where you come for truth. And the truth is I wake up pretty early and I get started with my day. And ever since I woke up, it has been just bam, 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 bam with the news. Bam, 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 bam with the information. And not only is Nancy Pelosi retiring or quitting, as we like to call it, probably 15 years too late, let's be honest. But not only is she retiring, but just moments ago, there was a medical emergency in the Oval Office that was broadcasted live on television or on the internet, wherever you happen. I was watching it on the internet, but it's also broadcast live on television because internet is basically the new TV. They call it the new media. And that's why we're here every single day. Why have a TV show when you can just be on the internet? Why have a TV show when you can have a podcast? It's better than any media that we've ever had, that we've ever established in our entire existence. It's better than radio. It's better than television. What we do here on the Mark K. Saves the Republic podcast every day, I think is probably some of the best and most important work being done anywhere in the world. And hopefully you agree with me. And I'm not trying to be self-serving or pat myself on the back because it's not just me, it's all of you. But the fact that you come here every single day to really hear the truth and to understand what's happening in the world, the fact that you're subscribing in record numbers, we are this close. And if you're listening to the podcast, just know that I'm holding my thumb and my index finger about as close together as they possibly can be held without them actually touching. We are this close to 100,000 followers on YouTube. And whenever I mention that, people go, wait a minute, you should have millions of people following on YouTube. You're great. I appreciate that. But, it is what it is. It's a long game. It's a slow game. It's a game that, you never really win, but you just can't quit playing at YouTube. Anyway, it's a grind, but for sure, we are this close to breaking 100,000 viewers or subscribers rather. I think we get a plaque. I'm not sure. I think it's silver. I think we get a silver one. The gold one is for like the milli. I know that one. So maybe we get a silver one. I don't even know. But that's not why I do it. I do it because every single day you need to know the truth. You need to know what's happening. You want to be first. You want to be entertained. You want to be informed. And of course, you want to be energized. I think that's what it really is. It's the energy around this show. Whenever I talk to Patriots, whenever I talk to people that listen to the show, they go, you know what I love? Your show's so upbeat and fast paced and entertaining and energized. And I go, it's not just me. It's everyone watching. It's, you draw in similar people. So if you think I'm energized and upbeat, it's because you are as well. So I applaud you and your efforts, and I applaud you taking the time to be here. Now let's get to the big breaking story today, which is Nancy Pelosi retiring. Nancy Pelosi calling it quits after 182 years in Congress. Nancy Pelosi, she was there when they were putting the dome on the Capitol building. She was there when they were in fact, I think she actually said, it needs some kind of statue. And so they put the Statue of Liberty on top of the Capitol. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So Nancy Pelosi, she's been there forever and a day, and she's finally retiring. And she announced it in a very lengthy, I'm talking like super lengthy, probably way longer than it should have been, post on her X page called Dear San Francisco.
Dear San Francisco.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it right there. So I'm not gonna play. I just realized, hang on, let me put the button here again. Let me just resume real quick. This thing.
We are fortunate to live in the most beautiful, remarkable place on earth.
I don't know why they had her narrate it, because speaking is not really her thing anymore. Speaking's not really her thing anymore. She's not really good at it. She's got that mush mouth kind of alcoholic, Dear San Francisco. But this thing's 5 minutes and 45 seconds long. I'm not going to play the whole 5 minutes and 45 seconds, but I did want to get to, hang on, there's an important part I want to get to where she actually says, I'm calling it quits. There's a lot of B-roll I don't know where they talk about AIDS, they talk about HIV, they talk about the earthquake, they talk about her becoming the Speaker of the House. She's got a big hammer. I think this is the part where she quits. Let me play this part here.
We can be proud of what we have accomplished, but there's always much more work to be done. Of course, San Francisco's impact is not confined to our city limits. The Affordable Care Act.
Okay, I guess she's really, gosh, she's really milking it for all it's worth. But let me go. I think here it is. I think this is the part where I think we're getting close. This is it here, I think.
The anthem of our city. That is why I want you, my fellow San Franciscans, to be the first to know. I will not be seeking re-election to Congress. With a grateful heart, I look forward to my final year of service as your proud representative. As we go forward, my message to the city I love is this. San Francisco, know your power. We have made history. We have made progress. We have always led the way. And now we must continue to do so by remaining full participants in our democracy.
Okay, you get the gist. She's quitting. She's calling it quits. She's out of, I think she's, what is she, 85 or something like that? So she goes, I got one more year of service and then I'm done. This is going to be my last year of service. And no one is more upset by this whole announcement than Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul. Because now he can't get drunk with dudes in his underwear anymore because Nancy's going to be, that's the thing, it's like the wife said retiring and you're like, oh, the glory days are over. Where am I going to go to get drunk and hang out with dudes in my underwear? Where am I going to go to get hammered now? He's very upset by it. No one's more excited though than President Donald Trump. And we know that because President Donald Trump was asked by Peter Doocy, hey, what do you think about Nancy Pelosi retiring? Here's one of the greatest responses to any question I think I've ever heard.
Chatted with President Trump about this breaking news that Nancy Pelosi will be leaving Washington. He tells me the following, and this is a quote. The retirement of Nancy Pelosi is a great thing for America. She was evil, corrupt, and only focused on bad things for our country. She was rapidly losing control of her party, and it was never coming back. I'm very honored. She impeached me twice and failed miserably twice. Nancy Pelosi is a highly overrated politician. And so that is the first word, but definitely not the last word, from President Trump about this, because about 90 minutes from right now, we do expect to see him in the Oval Office. The two of them, of course, throughout his entire first term, had historic battles, whether it was over funding, whether it was over his impeachment. The two of them did not get along at all, but like many historians.
Yeah, we get it. By the way, there was no press conference from President Donald Trump because of what happened in just a minute. But that is Donald Trump saying evil and corrupt, a direct quote. And I imagine Peter Doocy, he's in there and he's like, Mr. President, let me just get Nancy Pelosi announced her retirement. Do you have anything you want to say? And he goes, yes, she's evil, corrupt, blah, 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 more, so on and so forth. And you know what? In fact, it's so good. Let's just play it again. Wait, what happened to it? Hold on, where did it go? Here it is, one more time.
Chatted with President Trump about this breaking news that Nancy Pelosi will be leaving Washington. He tells me the following, and this is a quote. The retirement of Nancy Pelosi is a great thing for America. She was evil, corrupt, and only focused on bad things for our country. She was rapidly losing control of her party, and it was never coming back. I'm very honored. She impeached me twice and failed miserably twice. Nancy Pelosi is a highly overrated politician.
There you go. I really think I'm not gonna even kind of expand on that because I think that's the perfect way to describe her. And my wife walks in, she goes, "Did he have to call her evil?" I go, I mean, you got to call it like you got to call a spade, right? You got to call it like you see it. If it acts like a duck and it quacks like a duck and it's evil like a duck, then you call it evil. And that's what Nancy Pelosi. She was ducking evil. That woman still is. That's the other thing too. She still is evil. She's not stopped. She's still alive. She's just thankfully retiring from public office. Now, Donald Trump was having a press conference in the Oval Office. He was announcing that this was actually kind of a cool thing. He had RFK Jr. in there. He had Dr. Oz. He had a bunch of guys from Eli Lilly and other pharmaceutical companies. And they were announcing that they are now going to have Medicaid pay for weight loss drugs because, obesity is a medical condition that could cause further medical conditions. So in an effort to try to bring down the cost of medical attention and healthcare and everything else, they're going to help people lose weight by paying for weight loss. It was a huge announcement.
Just as significantly, Medicare and Medicaid will finally cover the cost of these weight loss drugs for millions of patients suffering from obesity. Co-pays for Medicare patients will be as low as $50. This is tremendous savings. I mean, now you're talking about from $1,350 to $50. This is tremendous news for the American seniors. And you all remember when I had 1/8 of 1% for the year. I cut it 1/8, and I was so thrilled. But now we're cutting it 1,000%, 1,200%. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. Nobody else could have done it, but I say that modestly.
Yeah, speaking of things nobody else has seen, during one of the speeches, there was a guy who was talking about, about how amazing this was. And behind him, a guy named Gordon, that's all I got from it. A guy named Gordon just passed out. Now, again, here, I'll play you the clip first.
Creating high-value jobs. But today, you okay? Gordon, you okay? Yeah.
Press, get out. Everybody out. So that's David Ricks, CEO of Eli Lilly, and he's talking about this deal, and all of a sudden this guy passes out behind him in the Oval Office. And it's not funny because I don't know how serious it was. I mean,
you okay?
At first I thought he was just fainting, but it looked a little bit more serious.
Gordon, you okay? Yeah.
And then they laid him down. And President Donald Trump is there. Luckily, Dr. Oz is there. I've never passed out anywhere. That's not true. I blacked out because when I was a kid back in Canada, we were playing hockey at recess, because that's what happened. True story. In Canada, I don't know, maybe they do this in other places too, but in Canada, in the wintertime, which means from October to like April, what they do is they go out to the football field at school because we have a football or a soccer field at school, right? And they go out there and they hose it down, like a bunch of hosers, and they freeze it and they make a skating rink. And I remember we had a big skating rink on the field, and they put a wall, a big, beautiful wall, I'm just kidding, in between it. And half of it was just for skating, like if you had like pleasure skating or figure skating or whatever. And the other half of it was for hockey. And since I was a dude, I went on the hockey side. And I remember playing hockey, and I had a helmet on too. So this is weird. I was like maybe 6 or 7 years old. And I was out there playing hockey. And I don't know what happens. I just remember being on the ice, and then bam, I remember being in the principal's office with a bag of ice on my head, and my parents were there. And I lost probably, I don't know, about 30, 40 minutes of my life. I have no idea. I was playing hockey, and then I was sitting on the bench with ice on my head, and my parents were there, and I have no idea what happened. Needless to say, I haven't played hockey since, but that was the only time I blacked out. But I'm just saying, if you've ever passed out anywhere, I have to imagine that the Oval Office during a live broadcast featuring Dr. Oz and RFK Jr. and a bunch of guys who are also professional doctors, probably one of the best places, because you have medical attention, the best medical attention in the world on site. You've got a surgeon on site. You've got an operating room there in the White House. You've got Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz literally jumps the world's most famous doctor, other than maybe Dr. Phil, but I don't think Dr. Phil's a medical doctor. The world's most famous doctor is right there, ready to take care of you.
Jobs. But today,
look at this.
You okay? Gordon, you okay?
Now, by the way, somebody pointed out, I think it was Aaron Rupar on X, somebody pointed out that as soon as this happened, RFK Jr. dipped out of the room, right? He jumps out of the room, and they were making fun of him. But the White House responded and said, listen, Ghoul, he was going to get medical attention, which is kind of funny to me because Dr. Oz is there, and RFK is like, oh wait, we need some more doctors. But again, I don't know what the status is. Kayleigh McEnany was like, hey, we're going to pray for this guy.
We're going to break away for just a moment as the White House addresses what appears
to be a medical emergency in the Oval. I'm going to try to get an update. I'm going to try to get an update and see see exactly what happened. But that's where we are. So there was, unfortunately, somebody passed out in the Oval Office, and doubly unfortunate, we did not get that live press conference with Donald Trump where he could have expanded on Nancy Pelosi's retirement, which is really, again, Peter Doocy teased it, and that's really the reason I turned it on. As soon as I heard that clip from Peter Doocy, I was like, oh, I got to watch this press conference. And that's why I turned it on, because I was waiting, hoping to see what President Donald Trump was going to say next.
Chatted with President Trump about this breaking news that Nancy Pelosi will be leaving Washington. He tells me the following, and this is a quote. The retirement of Nancy Pelosi is a great thing for America. She was evil, corrupt, and only focused on bad things for our country. She was rapidly losing control of her party, and it was never coming back. I'm very honored. She impeached me twice and failed miserably twice. Nancy Pelosi is a highly overrated politician.
Yeah. Anyway, there's supposed to be more. I imagine Donald Trump will have another press conference. It may be later today. Maybe they'll pick up where they left off. Maybe he'll just post something on Truth Social. Maybe he'll stop and talk to the reporters outside the White House. He never runs from the camera. Most transparent president we've ever seen. In fact, yesterday, President Donald Trump was in Miami, Florida, and he was talking about, well, pretty much everything. One of the things he talked about was the radicals, the scoundrels, and the far left bureaucrats like Nancy Pelosi, who he had to save the country from.
For years, our country was run by radical scoundrels and far left bureaucrats who created one catastrophe after another, wrecking our economy, erasing our borders, and surrendering America's power and standing all over the world. But after just 1 year since that glorious election, I'm thrilled to say that America is back. Woo! America is back. Bigger, better, stronger than ever. And in conclusion, jobs are returning, businesses are booming, and America is respected again, perhaps like never before. Our country is respected again like never. They were laughing at our country.
Not anymore.
For years, our country
not anymore. They're not laughing at us anymore. They dare not laugh at us anymore. And that is something President Donald Trump wanted to say. But of course, he also had to weigh in on this situation in New York with Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani, this guy, I got to tell you, I always knew it was a scam. I mean, first of all, communism itself is a scam, right? Communism itself doesn't work. We know it doesn't work. It's never worked. We've seen example after example after example of how communism doesn't work. We've seen it fail in multiple different countries. We've seen it fail in Cuba. We've seen it fail in the USSR. We've seen it fail all over. Communism is a failed system. It cannot contain itself, or it cannot, it's not, what do you call it? It doesn't regenerate enough growth for it to maintain itself. It collapses in on itself and it destroys everything that it touches. So why New Yorkers would decide to vote for a communist, I don't know. But when he tells you he's not a communist, or when he tells you that, oh no, I'm going to be a great leader, it's all a scam. He talked about free buses, which he doesn't have the money to pay for. That was a scam. Rent freezing, or freezes on rents. We all know that he doesn't have the power to do that either. That's a scam. Lowering taxes or taxing Elon Musk. Kathy Hochul came out and said that's a lie. He needs the governor to do that, and I'm the governor, and I'm not going to do any of that. So this guy was lying to New Yorkers over and over and over and over and over again. And I guess some New Yorkers out there believed it. I mean, a lot of it, 51% of them believed it. They believed that Zohran Mamdani was the future. They believed AOC and Bernie Sanders, that this guy knew what he was doing, that this guy was capable of leading one of the world's largest economies, that this guy was capable of leading New York City with its army of police officers and firefighters, with its counter-terrorist maneuvers, with its incredibly important strategic location and all that stuff. So New Yorkers fell for this scam. They thought they were going to get everything for free, and the very next day, the day after Zohran Mamdani won the election, he basically said, "Hey, thanks for electing me. Now give me some money." Listen to this.
Good morning, New York City, and thank you. Last night we made history, and today we begin the work of making a new administration.
All right, by the way, he's standing, if you're listening to the podcast, he's standing on a rooftop in New York City. So like one of those rooftops in New York where you go, like you have to climb the you climb the ladder and you sit on the rooftop and there's chimneys and there's AC units and old ductwork and stuff and the brownstones. I mean, we used to do that too. I used to live in an apartment on Charles Street, and we would climb up on the roof and, drink beer, and then someone would call the cops and then we'd have to run away. But anyway, that was typical in New York. But anyway, here he is on the rooftop, and listen to what he says.
Welcome to the transition.
And
working people.
Welcome to the transition. Let me skip forward to the part where he asks about money, because this is very, very important. Here it is. Listen.
On January 1st, I will be your mayor. New Year's Day and a new era for this city. Oh, and one more thing.
Oh, here it comes. January 1st, a new day, a new era for this city. Oh, by the way, one more thing.
Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again.
I mean, this is what, come on. Wait a minute. No. Why am I sending you money? You told me you were going to give me free bus rides. You told me you were going to freeze my rent. You told me you were going to open up grocery stores that people could go in and get government-run grocery stores with free stuff or reduced price stuff. You promised me the world. Now you're asking me for money? What kind of bait and switch kind of crap is that? But it's true. Zoran Mamdani, the day after he gets elected, says, hey, remember when I told you to stop sending us money? Remember when I said the rich are going to pay for everything? Well, guess what? That's not necessarily true. The rich ain't paying for any of this. So if you want everything I promised, you got to pony up some cash.
This transition requires staff, research, and an infrastructure that can meet this moment. And it will be made possible by the people who built and believe in this movement. So I hope you'll make a donation at transition2025.com. Now let's get to work.
Okay, so this guy, I mean, you want to talk about a con artist. That's the face of a con artist, or as I like to call him, a artist, because he's a communist. See what I did there? Yeah, thank you. I'll be here all week. So Zoran Mamdani, he's sitting there and he goes, hey, thank you so much for electing me. Remember I said stop sending money? Now you need to start sending money again. And if I were a New Yorker, I'd be like, whoa, WTF is happening? I elected you so you could pay for my stuff, not the other way around. But apparently, if you want all those free things, if you want the free buses and the free grocery stores, if you want your rent frozen, if you want all those things that Zoran Mamdani promised you, now he's saying you got to pay. And this is just for the transition. He's not even mayor yet. If he's begging for money, if he's got his hand out for the transition team, imagine what's going to happen when he actually gets to office. Also, why is he begging for money for the transition? What do you need money for the transition? You're the mayor-elect. There's a budget for you. You're not running for office anymore. If you're a New Yorker, and I love New York. Listen, I went to NYU. I should get my NYU hat. Maybe I'll get my NYU hat. I love New York. I went to NYU. I lived there very happily under Rudy Giuliani, the best mayor probably best mayor that city's ever had, and maybe every city's ever had. But and I love New Yorkers. I have a lot of friends who still live in New York. But don't send this guy money, folks. It's bad enough you voted for him. Do not send this guy money. This is that whole Nigerian prince email thing come to life. This is the Nigerian prince email IRL. This is Zoran Mamdani. He's like, oh, I have riches for you. I have wealth beyond. We will steal from the rich. We give you free everything. Free bus rides, free groceries, rent. But first, you give me some money, I can get to be mayor, and then we can unleash it all. He's saying to you, wire me cash, and then, once I'm in the mayor's office, then you'll be fully taken care of, which we all know is a bunch of BS because he doesn't have any of the power that he's saying that he has. He's a liar. He's a scam artist. He's a con man. The whole party are liars and con artists and scammers. I mean, look at who back AOC is a known liar. She lied about going to the border and crying at the kids in cages. She was at a ballpark in New Jersey, dressed in white, photoshopping herself to make it look like she'd gone down to the border. She's a liar. She cried on her live social media, live stream on Instagram, how she was afraid of getting shot on January 6th when she wasn't even in the Capitol building. She was in her bathroom at her congressional office building across the street. And when the police came and knocked on her door to check to see if she was okay, she thought she was going to get shot and hauled away. What is happening? She's a known liar. She fabricates the truth. You can't trust her. Bernie Sanders. I just want the little guy. We want $1, $2. That's all we want. We don't want any. We're helping for the little guy. And what happens? Hillary Clinton says, hey, get out of the race. I'll give you a couple $1 million. He goes, all right. And now he has 3 houses. What kind of communist has 3 houses? And he tries to spin it. Look, I live in Vermont, right? Burlington. I got a house in Burlington because I'm a Vermonter. It's a nice, modest, middle-class house. And then I go to work in D.C. And just like everyone else in D.C., all the senators, I need a place to live. So we buy a house for $2 million, which, by the way, I mean, $2 million, it's a nice house in D.C. It's not a mansion, but $2 million. He says it like it's nothing. So we buy a house in D.C., $2 million, because I got to work there. I need a place to put my head, do my hair. And just like many other Vermonters, I have a summer place on Lake Champlain. That's it. Just 3. Just 3 houses, says Bernie Sanders. Oh, by the way, socialism is good and the rich are bad. And we got to tax the rich. I mean, you are the rich. Tax yourself, dude. But New Yorkers fell for it. They fell for this was a con job from the get-go. They found a good-looking young assemblyman. They told him what to say. They put him up there. And now they are going to reap the rewards. They're going to install left-wing fascism, socialism, communism in New York City. They're going to take over. They're going to run out good people. They're going to run out the rich. The same people they're claiming on taxing, they're going to run them out. You know how I know? Real estate agents in Florida are already posting on TikTok about how popular they've become. Look at this.
Okay, y'all, I'm not going to lie. I did not think exactly this was going to happen. I thought this guy was going to win in New York City. I thought that our market was going to pick up. But I didn't think it was going to happen like the next morning. I'm like, okay, my sellers settle down. I don't think they're just going to come, racing down and,
Yeah, so we solved the major problem.
It's, I don't know. I don't even know what time it is, 3 or 4 o'clock. I've literally been on the phone since 7 a.m., nonstop back-to-back calls. I had showings scheduled for listings that haven't had showings in a month. And yeah, I was wrong because it literally turned on like a light bulb, literally blew off like a firecracker, and the post-socialist New York City political market is here on our shores in Palm Beach. Well,
I mean, there you go. In Palm Beach, Florida. She's like, I've been on the phone all day. Markets or houses that I haven't shown in months are now getting showings. There's going to be people that call, and this is what happens. They call up. I have lots of friends who are in real estate around here, and they said that during COVID, what happened was people would call up and they would buy sight unseen. They would call up and say, hey, you have this house for sale in Florida? And they go, yeah. They go, all right, I'm going to buy it. And they go, well, do you want to come see it? They're like, no, it's fine. Just send me the paperwork. I'm going to buy it right now. And they would buy these homes sight unseen. They would get down here and then they would make whatever changes they needed to do. There were bidding wars with people in New York, in New Jersey, and in all these places in Michigan, bidding wars with people trying to get to Florida, buying houses sight unseen. Imagine not just one buyer sight unseen, but multiple buyers sight unseen. This is exactly what's happening. And Zoran Mamkami and AOC and Bernie Sanders, they don't care. You know why? Because they don't want the rich people there anyway. They want their tax dollars, but they don't want them there. They don't like the rich people. They think the rich people are evil. And now the rich people are going to go. And those rich people, most of them vote for conservatives. So that's great. It's just going to solidify their base. And sure, their population will go down. They may lose more electoral votes, but they know that they will never, ever, ever be uncomfortable in an election season again, because they will be able to control government in New York City and New York State for the long haul. It's really kind of sad how well it worked, but New Yorkers fell for it. And I feel for you. And I know a lot of people in New York were like, I didn't vote for that clown. Deborah Messing voted for Andrew Cuomo. We all know that. And she went viral for the things that she did and said. But look, it is a bad scene. And Donald Trump knows it. Donald Trump talked about it yesterday in Miami.
But the communists, Marxists, socialists, and globalists had their chance and they delivered nothing but disaster. And now let's see how a communist does in New York. We're going to see how that works out. And we'll help them. We'll help them. We want New York to be successful. We'll help them a little bit, maybe. For all of these failed and discredited, really discredited, if you think, ideologies of the past, their day is over, their grip is broken, and their time is absolutely done. The golden age of America has begun, and we are just getting started.
Yeah, we're just getting there. The golden age of America has begun. We're just getting started. These communists, these socialists, these far left radical lunatics, their time is done. In New York City, they just elected one, and they're going to see. They're going to see before, it's going to be quick. The turnaround in New York City is going to be fast, rapid. People are going to be realizing what they've done, and they're going to be trying to get out ASAP. It's going to be something that is just, it's going to be something that is incredibly fast. And when that happens, when the communists take over New York City, Donald Trump will be proven right once again. And he's like me. He says, I'm torn, right? He goes, I'm from New York. I grew up in New York. I worked in New York. I helped build New York. I don't want New York to fail. I don't want it to sink into communism. I'm really torn. Oh, here it is.
You know, I'm so torn because I would like to see the new mayor do well because I love New York. I really love New York. When I left New York for Washington, New York was doing really well, but there were some bad signs. The bad sign was a guy named de Blasio. So the signs of de Blasio, that was the beginning, and it was bad. This one, we're going to, look, for 1,000 years, communism has not worked. Communism, or the concept of communism, has not worked. I tend to doubt it's going to work this time.
Did you see his victory speech?
It's literally never worked. Yeah, I thought it was a very angry speech, certainly angry toward me, and I think he should be very nice to me. You know, I'm the one that sort of has to approve a lot of things coming to him, so he's off to a bad start.
Yeah. By the way, that's not just Donald Trump saying that too, because I know what you're thinking. Well, of course, Donald Trump is going to hate his speech. I want you to listen to Van Jones. Van, I cry at the drop of a hat. Jones. Van, I'm a grown man who bawls. Jones. Van Jones was on CNN, of course, and he was asked about this speech, and he said the same thing President Donald Trump said, that this was not a very welcoming and warm and appropriate speech by Zoran Mamdani. Listen to this.
I think he missed an opportunity. I think the Mamdani that we saw on the campaign trail, who was a lot more calm, who was a lot warmer, who was a lot more embracing, was not present in that speech. And I think that Mamdani is the one you need to hear from tonight. There are a lot of people trying to figure out, can I get on this train with him or not? Is he going to include me? Is he going to be more of a class warrior even in office? I think he missed a chance tonight to open up and bring more people into the tent. I think his tone was sharp. I think he was using the microphone in a way that he was almost yelling. And that's not the Mamdani that we've seen on TikTok and the great interviews and stuff like that. So I felt like there's a little bit of a character switch here where the warm, open, embracing guy that's close to working people was not on stage tonight, and there was some other voice on stage. That said, he's very young, and he just pulled off something that's very, very difficult. And I wouldn't write him off, but I think he missed an opportunity to open himself up tonight, and I think that will probably cost him going forward.
Okay, he's a con man is basically what he's saying. He's trying to sugarcoat. He's like, you know what? He's young. He's not young. I mean, he is young, but he's a playa. He's a criminal. This guy knew what he was doing. The whole time he was on the campaign trail, he was getting coached. He had the best and the most expensive political operatives working for him. He had AOC and Bernie Sanders. He had all the campaign aides and staff he needed that was required of him. He went out there and he lied. And he told everybody, this is going to be a New York City for all of us. We're going to take back the country. It's amazing. Yes, everybody's welcome. I love Jewish people, even though we know he doesn't like Jewish people. I'm not pro-Palestine, even though we know he's pro-Palestine. No, I don't want to defund the police, even though we know he wants to defund the police. And then he gets elected, and he walks out there the minute he comes out for his speech. He's screaming and yelling like Dwight Schrute in The Office. And I can't play that clip because they're going to hit me for copyright infringement. But man, he's screaming and yelling. Oh, I just switched my camera again. I don't know how that happens. How does that happen oh no, what happened? I just locked up my entire system. Wait a minute. Where am I? I don't know what happened. Okay, wait. Oh, I see the gold bit. What happened there? I should not hit the table anymore because whenever I hit the table, that's the kind of stuff that I'm not going to hit the table anymore. But anyway, that's now all of a sudden he turns and he becomes the person we knew he was, the angry radical commie socialist who hates the rich people and is power hungry. We knew he was going to become that, and he became that. Boom. And he didn't really even become it. It's just who he was. But Van Jones is like, I think he missed an opportunity. What are you talking about? That's literally who he is. He took the opportunity to show you that you got scammed. Again, you got scammed. You got duped in New York. And I have to imagine that Van Jones is part of the problem because guess what? Van Jones lives in New York. And I have to imagine that Van Jones is looking around going, man, I can't believe this guy's in charge. What is going to, I mean, there's a lot of people like that in New York City today who are waking up and thinking this is not what I signed up for. Now, something else that's happening in New York City is they're starting to cancel flights, which is really bad because I literally have a flight to New York on Saturday. And I don't know, hopefully I'm not gonna knock on wood. I don't want to knock on wood because I don't want to switch the cameras again, but knock on wood. Hopefully there's no delays. There are a few delays already today as the shutdown continues. And this is something else that Donald Trump talked about, how the Democrats take full advantage of their power and the Republicans do not. This is one of the reasons why I really can't stand Republicans. Republicans are, I guess they talk a big game, but they don't really play a good game. They always talk about how they want to do this, that, and the other, but they don't use all the tools. They don't have, they don't have the right tools. They don't have the right play callers. They're not gutsy enough. And Donald Trump, luckily, is gutsy enough, but unfortunately, in a situation like we have with the filibuster, he can't, it's not his take, it's not his call. It's not like with the tariffs. It's not with like blowing drug boats out of the water. It's not like any of that stuff. The filibuster is the filibuster, and Donald Trump can't unilaterally get rid of it, even though the Democrats think he's a king. So Donald Trump is doing the next best thing, which is trying to convince the Republicans that you got to get rid of the filibuster. He was back on True Social again. This is like his 19th post about the filibuster. The Democrats will terminate the filibuster in the first hour if and when they assume control or power. Republicans have what the Democrats want. We should do it now and have the greatest 3 years in history. This is something that is perfectly sensible. This is something that makes total sense. This is something we should do. But we're not going to do because the Republicans, like I said, the Republicans are kind of weak. Now, I want to go back to the Oval Office because President Donald Trump is back and he is speaking. And I have to imagine that this is going to be, I have to imagine that this is really going to be really, really kind of interesting. So let me pull this up here real quick and we can listen into the President of the United States.
The case being heard, the justices expressed some skepticism. What is your plan if they end up making a decision that's not in your favor?
Well, I'd rather discuss that later. I hope we're going to win that case. I think it's one of the most important cases in the history of our country. So much evolves around tariffs as a defensive mechanism for our country. That's national security for our country. So I don't want to really discuss ground two. This is so important. If you look at China, and I covered this yesterday, but if you look at China, by putting a large 100% tariff over and above the tariffs they already paid. They came to the table, they talked, we made a wonderful deal for everybody. Our farmers, as you know, with the soybeans at levels that nobody's ever seen before, we were able to make phenomenal deals. If we didn't have the tariffs, we wouldn't have been able to do that. So we thought we did very well yesterday. We hope that we did. I think it would be devastating for our country. But I also think that we'll have to develop a game two plan. We'll see what happens. Most people tell me we did very well legally.
Mr. President, related to that, are you moving forward with any new tariff announcements before a decision from the Supreme Court?
This is the best one. And we can do other things, but they're slow by comparison. It's like as an example, with the 100%, I was able to do it instantaneously when we were threatened by the rare earths, as you know, the magnets. And I did it instantaneously. It was a matter of seconds. And it was a matter of seconds that I got a phone call, let's work this out. We would have had not nearly the defense that we had.
I don't know why the microphone's so bad. I don't know where the microphone placement is, but
it would be somewhat
I'm going to check a couple of the news sources to see if I can get better feed.
Get too much involved,
because
but what we've done, we're taking in hundreds of trillions of dollars. If you take a look at the numbers we have, we're at $17 trillion right now. We're going to be at $21 trillion, about $21 trillion by the time I finished my first year. Biden, as an example, the Biden administration was at less than $1 trillion for 4 years.
Let's try Newsmax.
We're going to be at $21 trillion for 1 year.
If Newsmax is any better. Let's see what they sound like.
That knows how to use them.
and I use them for national defense. I ended, of the 8 wars I ended, I would say 5 or 6 were ended because of tariffs. I give you an example. If you take a look at India and Pakistan, they started to fight. They're 2 nuclear nations. They were shooting each other. 8 planes were shot down. There was 7, now it was 8, because the one that was sort of shot down is now abandoned. And 8 planes were shot down. And I said, listen, if you guys are going to fight, I'm going to put tariffs on you. And they both went, they were not happy about that. And within 24 hours, I settled the war. If I didn't have tariffs, I wouldn't have been able to settle that war. So it's great national defense, and you have to be quick moving. You can't wait around for months and months while you're doing studies and you're doing all of this, or go back to Congress. Look at Congress. We can't even get a continuation from Congress.
Amen.
Think of that. How would you have to go back to Congress you have to do this spur of the moment? Because just so you understand, we're hit spur of the moment. Other countries have used tariffs to, absolutely, they would have destroyed us. If I didn't come along, our country would be destroyed right now. The tariffs have made us rich in terms of national security. They've made us secure. And if you have economic strength, that's also, if you have a lack of economic strength, that's national security also. But we have great national security because of those tariffs. So I think it would be devastating if we lost that ruling.
But before the Supreme Court issues a ruling, it could be several weeks. Are you going to lay out any new additional tariffs before that?
I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to hope that we win. I can't imagine that anybody would do that kind of devastation to our country. We'd have to pay back trillions of dollars. We've taken in trillions. We haven't taken in billions. We've taken in trillions of dollars. We've made trade deals based on that give us, as an example, European Union, $950 billion. Japan, $650 billion. South Korea, $350 billion. Without this, we're not talking about that kind of money. And they're okay, they're satisfied, they love us. I just left. They all love us. So it's not like we're such bad people. But they were doing it to us until I came along. Now they don't do it to us, we do it to them a little bit. But if they took this away, we would be defenseless against tariffs from other countries.
Mr. President, on employer plans and individual plans who also don't have access to GLP-1s, what can you do to make those insurers and PBMs get these same prices so they can put access for those
I'll
folks?
ask Oz or Bobby that question. It's a good question.
Absolutely. Many Americans receive their insurance through the commercial markets. The companies have committed to ensure that at worst, prices are at MFN on GLP-1s and are committed to continue to negotiate those prices down based on volume, just as they do in any other instance. Another really interesting thing we're seeing, though, is that commercial plans and PBMs increasingly are enabling access for their beneficiaries, their patients, to make purchases in the cash market and then still receive coverage out of their accumulators and their deductibles. And so we're building that capacity, and absolutely, Trump RX is being built to enable just that behavior and drive transparency in the process.
Mr. President, there are so many Americans that report tremendously positive results from these drugs. What real-world impact do you think this will be? Is there an estimate on how many Americans may now take these drugs? And also about the informed consent on side effects. There are lawsuits against these companies that some people experienced damage to their gut health, vision loss, and other potentially serious side effects there. So how will we ensure Americans are able to make the best choice of the risk versus the rewards?
Well, I'll let them speak about the side effects, but I've heard about very little side effects with respect to these drugs. I mean, it's all positive, and that's usually not the case. I mean, usually you hear bad things. You see these crazy commercials on television where they tell you 15 different things that can go wrong, and then you're supposed to buy it. Very few, but I'll let you handle that.
At a high level, 1 in 3 people who can hear my voice are eligible for these medications. That's the magnitude of impact. And we believe just to reemphasize, we will actually save the American taxpayer money if people use these drugs appropriately for the duration for which they're indicated. There are always going to be side effects. If anything strong enough to help you, strong enough to hurt you. The question is the trade-off worth it? We know the ravaging risks of obesity and all downstream issues ranging from diabetes and hypertension to renal failure, dementia, heart disease, my specialty. But I'll ask Dave Ricks from Lilly to maybe start off, because he can give an honest appraisal of potential risks people should be aware of. There's no free cheese.
There's no free cheese.
Today,
says
as you
Dr.
may know,
Oz.
there's about 8 million people benefiting from the two companies' medications. This new announcement will make that tens of millions that could benefit from it. So it's a huge improvement. But as the previous question, we need commercial plans and other insurers to step into this arrangement. I think probably both companies will work hard to make sure that happens. Yeah, as Dr. Oz said, no drug that can help you has no side effects. Most of them are well known. We've been using this class of medications for nearly 20 years. And that's why it's important that patients go to their doctor and decide together whether this is right for them, and their doctor knows their medical history and has the information about these medications. But we're confident in the safety, but there's always some precautions we should have, and people's own medical histories matter in that decision.
And are there any estimates for?
What I would like to say is also that, of course, in my speech I made a comment that what happened today allows us and
what's very interesting is that a lot of these reporters are actually asking questions about what the press conference was about. They're actually asking questions about the weight loss drugs and the effect and the benefit to the millions of Americans who are now going to be able to get them through their healthcare plans and through Medicaid. That is something that almost never happens. Usually they just jump right into the other questions they have for President Donald Trump, like filibuster Pelosi. But we'll rest assured, we will get to those, and Donald Trump is going to have a lot to say about all of those things.
For you, knockoffs sounds like it might be.
It has been, yes. It has been. But on the other hand, of course, patients have to be able to afford it. So it has been also our job to make sure that affordability.
Are the knockoffs dangerous?
The knockoffs are not FDA. The API, the raw ingredient that goes into them, are not FDA approved. So nothing is as good as the original.
Yeah, I know that.
Mr. President, yesterday in the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Roberts said that tariffs are taxes and that they're paid by Americans. He said this pretty clearly. And yet you're saying that this money is rolling in from other countries. How do you square those two?
Well, it's coming in because they've charged us. Those same countries that you talk about are charging us massive amounts of money. If you look at the tariffs over the years that were put on our heads, there's a reason we're $38 trillion owed. Now that money's going to start coming down. But we had presidents that didn't know how to use tariffs. We had presidents that had no understanding of business. But if you take a look at what's happened to us, every country charges tariffs. China, the European Union was brutal. They charged us tariffs, not only tariffs, they charged us tariffs so we couldn't sell cars there. We couldn't sell our product. They didn't want our agriculture. They didn't want our cars. Now they're taking our cars, and now they're taking our agriculture. Far more than money. It really is a defensive mechanism. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be unable to defend ourselves.
So then do you agree then that Americans are paying those tariffs?
I think, no, I don't agree. I think that they might be paying something, but when you take the overall impact, the Americans are gaining tremendously. They're gaining through national security. Look, I'm ending war because of these tariffs. Americans would have to fight in some of these wars. They're gaining in national security. They're gaining in economics. They're gaining in so many different ways. And they're gaining in self-respect for our own country. Other countries used to laugh at us. They would charge us tariffs. Japan was charging us massive tariffs, and yet they wouldn't allow our cars to be sold in Japan. But they were selling 9 million cars here, but they wouldn't allow one car. Not one car was sold in Japan. They don't laugh at us anymore. This is really a matter of, this is national security. And by the way, going bankrupt is national security. Our country was really in trouble. Going bankrupt, and the difference between going bankrupt and thriving, that's also national security. When you go bankrupt, when you don't have any money, you have no national security. And we are thriving. All this money coming into our country that I told you about, the 17 trillion as of now, but it's going up rapidly. I was in Japan, and we have Toyota is coming in with $10 billion to build plants operated by Americans, but building plants all over the United States. Well, they left. They took our plants. They sold cars in here without tariffs. They sold cars. We didn't charge them anything. They destroyed our auto industry. We lost 50%, 54% of our auto industry to other. We used to, if you go back into the 30s and 40s, we had 100% of the automobile business. Then it started getting chopped away. But Mexico, Canada, many countries, I mean, Canada fought us very hard. The ones that don't want us to win are foreign countries that we are able now to do very well with. Those are the ones that fight it. Those are maybe people that hate our country. I think it's the most important case maybe in the history of our country.
This has been a major achievement for your administration, targeting the segment of our population that needs it the most, that has the highest obesity rates. You're making it affordable. You are truly saving lives. That's coming from the viewers that we've had in that 1 hour that we took a little bit of a break. My question to you is, Walmart just pushed out a report that says this year's traditional Thanksgiving meal will cost 25% less than it did under the Biden administration, plus gas prices being down in the $2 region makes it more affordable to travel to grandma's house this Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much.
That wasn't a question, by the way. Also,
it's not so much a question; it's a statement.
Right. That's exactly what I said. Also, you know what's interesting to me? How they all just start yelling and screaming, and then one of them just kind of they all shut up, and one of them jumps out of. I don't wonder how they figured that out.
Came out that nobody going to influence them. I don't know them, but they just came out with a very powerful statement. They've done it for many years. That under the Biden administration, Thanksgiving meal with all the trimmings, cost 25% more. In other words, our Thanksgiving this year coming up will cost 25% less than sleepy Joe Biden's. Now, to me, that's better than anything there is. That's better than a poll. They've got everything included, from the trimmings and from the turkey and from everything, a lot of different items. It's 25% less this year than it was last year when he was so-called in charge. He wasn't in charge. The people around the desk were in charge. The auto pen was in charge. That is a big factor. And I was angry last night with the Republicans. They say, you don't talk about this stuff. Nobody talks about it. You know, I rely on a question from a reporter to get that out. We should be talking about it because they talk about affordability. They don't have affordability. We had the highest inflation in the history of our country under Biden. We had high gasoline prices at $4.50, $5 a gallon. They're going to be hitting $2 a gallon with me. They're getting close to $2 a gallon. And when gasoline goes down and energy goes down, everything else follows. What the Democrats do is they lie. We are the ones that have done great on affordability. They've done horribly on affordability. The only thing is they go out and they take commercials how under the Democrats you have affordability. It's just the opposite. We have much lower prices than they do. And we only have one thing, beef, because the cattle ranches are doing well. We're going to bring the beef prices down, and they understand that, even if we have to help them out. But the beef also is not a big difference, but every price is down. The biggest price is energy. We're at almost $2 for gasoline, and you take a look at where they were at $4.50, $5 for gasoline. And when gasoline and energy comes down, everything else follows. And I was so happy. Last night I made a speech, and then I get off the stage. I said, I feel like going up and saying it, because I have a lot of respect for Walmart. And nobody's influencing Walmart. They came out and they said, Trump's Thanksgiving dinner, same things, is 25% less than Biden's. And we are the affordability one. We are the ones that have done a great job at affordability, not the Democrats. And yet, we just lost a couple of elections, very Democrat areas. Maybe won't be full. They weren't very Democrat when I ran a year ago, because I did well in those areas. But we just lost an election, they said, based on affordability. It's a con job by the Democrats. The Democrats are only good at con and cheating on elections. Thank you for the question.
In the middle question about India.
Say it.
How is the talks with Prime Minister Modi going on a trade deal? And when
going good. He stopped buying oil from Russia.
When do you plan?
And he's a friend of mine, and we speak.
They're talking about India.
He wants me to go there, and we'll figure that out. I'll go.
I had a great trip there with Prime Minister Modi. He's a great man. And I'll be going. Yeah.
Novo Nordisk is in the middle of a 10.
You're planning to go to India next year, sir?
It could be, yeah.
Novo Nordisk is in the middle of a potential $10 billion acquisition for a smaller obesity biotech. They might need your and the FTC's help to see that through. Do you have any issues with that, or Eli Lilly buying a smaller obesity biotech from an anti-competitive
Well, I don't
standpoint?
know. Do you want to talk about that? I mean, I'd like to hear it. Maybe you should give us a piece of the company like I've been asking for.
So
Give the United States a nice big chunk of the company.
So Novo Nordisk and Pfizer right now are in the middle of an acquisition dialogue and discussion.
It's you and Pfizer?
It's us and Pfizer.
Competing for the company?
Competing for the company.
Who's winning?
And as of today, our bid is higher. And our message to Pfizer is that if they would like to buy the company, then put your hand in the pocket and bid higher. It's a free market, and at the end of it, it has to do with basically the price that the seller is selling for their shareholders and the buyers willing to pay for it. This has nothing to do with FTC, has nothing to do with anything else.
Do you think it's
Is that a
anti-competitive?
similar product to what we're talking about today?
It's a product, it's a series of products that will come to the market in around turn of the decade, where the market is very crowded with many, many other players as well.
Right.
So it's the next generations of products, and it will come five. Yeah.
Mr. President,
Zoran Mandami, you said that
Here we go.
You called him a communist.
Yeah.
You said that if he won, you would take drastic action against New York City. What kind of actions are you looking at, and will the ICE deportations continue?
Well, I think you have to look. If he is a communist, you know there's not going to be a lot of activity. So you wouldn't need bridges and tunnels and all the different things that were being planned for New York, I think. And look, I hope New York does well. That's all I can say. I love New York. I grew up in New York. I did well in New York, always did well. And I hope New York does well. That's all.
Well, they're not going to need bridges and tunnels anymore
We want
because
to get criminals out. If they're criminals, we want to get them out. Ideally, we wouldn't have to do them because he'll send the criminals out himself. But that seems to be unlikely. No, we have to get criminals out. You know, millions of people were let into our country from prisons and from mental institutions and drug dealers, a lot of drug dealers and murderers, 11,888 murderers. 50% of them committed more than one murder. And we want to get them out. So whether they're in New York or anywhere else, we want to get them out.
Yeah, you don't want murderers in New York. Duh.
Place in Washington, all of you know, you see the difference between what it was now and what it was a year ago under Biden. It was a death trap, and now it's people walk down the street, they have dinner, the restaurants are booming. Washington D.C. is great. I will tell you, Memphis is doing really well too. You're hearing those reports. It's companies were going to move out. They're not going to move out anymore. We've done a great job, and we've only been there for 4 weeks.
Here, here.
So we've done a great job with that. But they have killers in New York. We want to get them out. If they have murderers, if they have people from jails that they allowed out of their jails in order to save a lot of money, we want them out of here. We want to put them back in their jails, not our jails.
Mr. President, quick question in regards to TSA. Would you ever consider privatizing TSA? That question comes to us from our viewers all the time, and I told them I would ask you.
I think of privatizing a lot of things, but generally speaking, you know, you have government, and a lot of people don't like privatizing, but some things that they really do, they work out better privatized. But it is government, and sometimes government can be better. It's something a lot of people talk about.
I've heard that government, as far as air traffic controllers, is 2 thumbs up on that. I've heard from dozens of pilots who have flown the last 90 days, particularly under all the stress of the government shutdown.
Right.
They tell me, Brian, that is the one thing the government does right is air traffic controls.
Well, we're going to do it a lot better too, because we're going to buy a new system. It's under bid right now. Bid about 4 different companies, all top of the line, like these 2 great companies, except, you know, in a slightly different field. And the air traffic control equipment is 45 years old. Buttigieg spent billions of dollars trying to fix it and didn't even use the right wire.
Yeah.
You're hooking up glass into copper, and you can't do that.
Can't do that.
If they went to a reasonably good school, they'd find out you can't hook glass into copper.
Nope.
And they spent billions of dollars, and it was actually made the system much worse. We're going to get rid of the entire system, put a brand new system in, It'll be expensive, but we'll have the best air control system, meaning, the control towers. They'll be stripped down to the bone, and brand new equipment is being installed. And we'll give out that, it's a big contract, we'll give out that contract over the next 6 weeks.
On drug pricing, sir, that the FAA is going to have to cut about 10% of flights at the top 40 airports because of the government shutdown. Are you at all concerned that it might not be safe to fly right now? And what do you tell people who are gearing up for
that's why they're cutting. Yeah, it's a fair question. Sean Duffy announced they're cutting in certain areas 10%, and they want to make sure it's 100% safe. That's why they're doing it.
Mr. President, given these modifications that are being made to air travel, the other disruptions with the government shutdown, do you think it's time for Republicans in Congress to change their negotiating position at all?
In what way?
To start making concessions to Democrats?
What? No.
Well, I think it's time for them to
up, Jared
end the
Halpern.
filibuster and just put everybody back to work.
What is Jared
vote
Halpern's
in voter
problem?
ID, vote in no mail-in voting except for military, faraway military, and people that are very sick.
How about,
I'd like to see
the
one-day
Republicans should
voting.
end the
I'd like to see
filibuster,
not
or the
65
Democrats should
days
come
of
in and
voting
vote to open up the
from
government.
all over the place. No, I'd like
What
to
a
clean up
stupid
the
question.
elections. The border, we've done a great job. We have a great, strong border now. But I'd like to see new rules on immigration that could be fair and good, but rules that you'll never get, rules that they're never going to get. There's so many things we could put in, including tax cuts that we could get, and we could do it all ourselves. But to do that, you have to end the filibuster. The filibuster is, and they'll do it too. They'll immediately do it. What they're going to do is, what the Democrats will do is they're going to make Puerto Rico a state. They're going to make D.C. a state. They're going to pack the court. They're going to end up with more electoral votes. They're going to end up with 4 senators because of the 2 states. And they're going to do this 100%. They would have done it except Manchin and Sinema got in their way. They would have done it. So if they're going to do it, I would do it. I would do it before them.
And you think
It's a
that
little
the
like
longer
Israel.
this,
It's a little like Israel. Israel attacked first. That attack was very, very powerful. I was very much in charge of that. When Israel attacked Iran first, that was a great day for Israel because that attack did more damage than the rest of them put together. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see voter ID. Who wouldn't approve voter ID? The Democrats. Why wouldn't they approve it? Because they cheat. There's only one reason we don't have voter identification. And we should have it. If we got rid of the filibuster, in one day you'd have voter identification. The only reason they don't want it is because they cheat.
Mr. President, there's some people, Republicans, who would also like to see the ACA tax credits extended for middle-class folks who are buying insurance on their own.
Right.
Where do you weigh in on that?
Well, I don't weigh in it, but we're looking at all of that right now. We're looking at all of it. There are a lot of great ideas out there, including for health care, because Obamacare is a disaster. The Obamacare premium is going to go up 17 or 18%, and that's not my fault. I didn't want Obamacare. That's the fault of the people that put it in, the Democrats. And now they want it subsidized further. But, where you take it from them, you take it from a lot of other people. We could have much better health care at a much lower price.
Mr. President, will you be doing another one of these drug pricing announcements with another company, or is this the last we're going to see for a little while? About drug pricing, deals that you're
everybody's involved, and we're going to get low pricing from. All companies are being involved. We are now going to have, with all drugs, the lowest price anywhere in the world. That's the price we're going to have.
And will you have
That's called favored nations. We were stupid nations before. We paid 10 times more.
Now we're favored nations.
15 times more.
Yeah.
Than they were paying in Europe and other places. So that was really stupid.
Stupid nations to favored.
These will go down. The injectable prices will go down to $250, I believe. But American patients might still look at European prices and say these aren't quite low enough to match that. What would you say in response
Well, then
to
we're
people?
going to match it because as far as I'm concerned, we're at favored nations. If Europe is paying less, then now there could be other reasons. There could be a distribution, et cetera, et cetera. It's harder to get to, but outside of pretty minor things, this is favored nations. We are going to be paying the lowest price in the world, outside of some nations that are stone cold bankrupt, have no money,
and people make contributions of medicines to those nations, including us. We're going to have the lowest prices anywhere in the world. And your drug prices will go down 600, 700, 800%. And I'll be given no credit for it, because I never get credit for anything. But nobody else could have done this. So thank you very much.
All right, that's it.
Thank you, President. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
And there we go.
Thank you, press.
Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi's
Oh, wait.
I think she's an evil woman. I'm glad she's retiring. I think she did the country a great service by retiring. I think she was a tremendous liability for the country.
And on Dick Cheney.
I thought she was an evil woman who did a poor job, who cost the country a lot in damages and in reputation. I thought she was terrible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
I thought she was terrible. Thank you very much. That's my favorite. I thought she was terrible. Thank you very much. So there you go. Wait, right at the end there, they snuck it in. Right at the end, they snuck it in. They snuck in a question about Nancy Pelosi retiring. Goes, oh, Nancy Pelosi? Yeah. Hold on. Keep that camera on me for just a minute. She was evil. She was corrupt. She did a disservice to the country. Her retiring is the best possible news that we could have had. She's an awful person. All right. Thank you. Have a great day. That's what I was waiting for the entire time. But look, Donald Trump, very optimistic about the Supreme Court, and he's right about a lot of things. If this Supreme Court decision about tariffs comes down the wrong way, it's going to cost us trillions of dollars. And I just can't imagine that the Supreme Court would be so irresponsible. Also, there's really nothing in this ruling that suggests that Donald Trump has overstepped his boundaries or powers that were not already precedent for the president of the United States of America. That's something he says, look, we are more than optimistic about this case. We understand, and we hope that the Supreme Court justices understand as well what's at stake and how this is such an important thing, not just for our economy, but for national security, because we end wars, we save lives, we're getting fair trade. Nobody's complaining, and that's a really interesting point. If you want to think about how the rest of the world was bending us over on the daily. And you can tell that because when Donald Trump went in and said, now you have to start paying billions of dollars, they didn't flinch. They were like, all right. And they're happy about it. And Donald Trump said, he literally said, these countries were taking advantage of us so much that when we started charging them billions of dollars, they said, fine. Because they still know they're getting the better end of the deal. They still know that being in the United States and paying billions of dollars is better than not being in the United States at all. Plus, think about all the money they've been making years. They know that the gravy train is slowing down, but it's not stopping. That is how you know you're taking advantage of somebody when you say, from now on, you have to give me money to do business with me. And they go, okay, without even flinching, without even pausing or skipping a beat. That's exactly what's happening. And thanking him for it. They thank Donald Trump. They give him awards. They gave him a crown when he went to South Korea. They're giving him they're telling everybody he should be the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. All of these things are happening. And Donald Trump saying, think about how badly they were taking advantage of us. They were taking such bad advantage of us that when we said stop taking advantage of us, they said, okay, because they got coffers full of our cash and they're flush with it. And they're totally fine with it. It's a point that shouldn't be missed. And if the Supreme Court comes down any other way than in favor of Donald Trump being able to use the power of tariffs to negotiate with countries, then we do have some serious problems. The filibuster is right. Jared Halpern, that guy who asked that question, we used to work together here in Jacksonville. He's from Jacksonville, Florida. We worked at the news station together. He goes, is it time for the Republicans to change their negotiating tactics? And Donald Trump's like, no, it's time for the Republicans to get rid of the filibuster. Nuke the filibuster. He's 100% right about that. The Democrats want more states. They want Puerto Rico and D.C. because they know that those are Democrat strongholds. And they know that if they have Democrat strongholds in Washington, D.C. and in Puerto Rico, they're going to have 4 more senators, a bunch of new representatives, and probably a strong grip on power for a very long time to come. But in order for that to happen, they would need to win back the House of Representatives, they would need to win back the Senate, and they would need to win back the White House. They would also need a majority of their senators to vote in favor of statehood and the president to sign off on it. So there are a lot of things that would need to fall into place. There are a lot of blocks that need to fall into place. And yes, it could potentially happen. Anything could happen. But Donald Trump saying, if you get rid of the filibuster now, we can open up the government. We can do this. We can do that. We can get all of our agenda items passed. We won't have to worry about the Democrats blocking up the system or gumming up the works. We're going to have the most amazing country. And when people go to the polls, they're going to be like, of course I'm voting for Republicans. Republicans are amazing. Look at everything they've done. Republicans are incredible. They did everything they said they were going to do and more. And I have more money and I have less regulation and I'm happier and my kids are smarter and all these things, all because we don't have a filibuster blocking up this legislation. We don't have to worry about canceling air traffic or airplanes or flights because the government shut down. He brought up a great point. Somebody said, "What about Congress? Shouldn't Congress be the one to put tariffs on it?" Donald Trump's like, Congress can't even fund this country. Congress can't even get their stuff together to get this country up. And you want to give Congress more power? I agree. Less power to Congress, because the power that they have, they can't even control. They can't even get their stuff together to open up the government. Don't give them any more power. In fact, take away some of the powers that they have, because they're not very good at it. Republicans and Democrats. Republicans are infuriating. Republicans are just infuriating. They have the ability to make America so great. We have the presidency. We have the Senate. We have the House of Representatives. We believe we have a conservative majority in the Supreme Court. We got a bunch of governorships and a whole bunch of state legislatures. And we are just sitting here on our hands going, well, we need 5 Democrats. We don't need 5 Democrats. We've got plenty of Republicans. What we don't have are plenty of Republicans with balls. We need Republicans with spines. We don't need 5 Democrats. We need 5 Republicans who are bold, who are courageous, who are going to make the hard decisions. Instead, we get John Thune, who says, yeah, we're not going to get rid of the filibuster. Why? We're scared. What are you scared of? We're scared that the Democrats are going to use it. Oh, spoiler alert, they are going to use it. Do you not remember they tried to use it just a few years ago? They're going to use it. It's not even a fear anymore. Do not be afraid that the Democrats are going to use the lack of a filibuster to put forward all of their radical ideas. They're going to do that. They've already tried. And the 2 things that stopped them are no longer an issue. So they're just waiting, man. They're just counting the days. They're just trying to figure out how to rig enough elections so that they can get back into power and do all of these things. You're scared of that? You're afraid? Anybody who's afraid, I'm afraid this is going to happen. Oh, let me alleviate those fears for you. It's going to happen. It's like somebody being afraid of death. I'm afraid I'm going to die. Fun fact, you will. It's inevitable. There have been billions and billions of people on this earth, and the one thing they all have in common is that they have or will sometime in the future die. The Democrats will sometime in the future get rid of the filibuster and put forth all of this insanity that they've been talking about, and the Republicans could do it now, but they're not going to, because they're scared of something that's already, we know, going to happen. They're so infuriating. I don't know why Donald Trump is a much better person than I am. Donald Trump talked about it with Brett Baier, and he said, here he is. He talked about it, and he said, look, he doesn't want to make, hold on, where is it? Filibuster. Here it is. He doesn't want to anger some of his friends, even though he knows they're dead wrong.
Is there a deal that can be made to end this government shutdown, in your mind?
Well, I think the Democrats have...
This isn't it. Hang on. It's right here.
I think that if we got rid of the filibuster, we would approve so many good things, common sense things, wonderful things, that it would be hard to beat us. If we don't, it's always going to be a slog. So I do say this. I would say absolutely, without question, I have no doubt in my mind, get rid of it. And the Republicans should do it. But they have a number of Republicans that don't agree. And you know what? It's a question. Do I want to lose my relationship with those Republicans that have been very good to me for a long period of time, that voted against the crooked Democrats on impeachment and everything else? Do I want to lose them over it? I think it's a very important point. Do you ever have people that are wrong, but you can't convince them? So do you destroy your whole relationship with them or not? I'd be close to losing it, but probably not.
I mean, I do. Like, you're wrong, and I can't have anything to do with you. But I mean, that's what Donald Trump's saying. He's saying, yeah, there's people on the right. I have good relationships with them. They were there for me when I needed them. They're wrong about this. They're dead wrong about this. I don't know, man. I think there's a lot at stake. I think Donald Trump's right. I think this is a moment of potential world-altering change. And it's just, I don't know what we're protecting anymore. What are we protecting? The filibuster is not in the Constitution. It's not. There's nothing constitutional about the filibuster. The filibuster was created by the Senate. And I mean, think about this. The filibuster was created by Congress to give Congress more power. Okay? They're complaining all the time. Donald Trump's taking too much power. Donald Trump's trying to tariff people. Donald Trump's blowing boats out of the water. Donald Trump doesn't have all this authority. Donald Trump's acting against the Constitution. What about the filibuster? There's nothing in the Constitution that says anything about a filibuster. There's nothing in the Constitution that says anything about needing 5 Democrats to reopen the government. In fact, you know what the Constitution says? Congress must fund the government. They don't seem to be worried that they're acting in a way that's unconstitutional now, do they? The Constitution clearly says it is the job of Congress to fund the government. And if you don't, then you are acting in a way that is unconstitutional. And no one in Congress seems to care about that. But they do care that Donald Trump is blowing boats out of the water, or that Donald Trump is levying tariffs on people. Where is my Constitution? Where's my Constitution? Here. All right, I got this one. Here we go. Ready? I'm going to pull out my original vaccine passport, aka the Constitution of the United States of America. I believe it's Article 1, Section. Oh, here we go. Section 8, Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution, aka the original vaccine passport. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts, blah, 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 blah. To coin money, blah, 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 blah. To establish post offices, blah, 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 blah. To raise and support armies. To make rules for the government regulation. To provide, blah, 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 blah. To exercise, to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper. Okay, it's in here somewhere. I'll find it. Hang on, here it is. It may be. Yeah, it's in here somewhere. Anyway, the job of the Congress is to, here we go. All bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments as on other bills, meaning the House of Representatives has the power of the purse. Every bill which shall have passed the House of Representatives and the Senate shall, before it become a law, be presented to the President of the United States. If he approve, he shall sign it, but if not, he shall return it, blah, 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 with his objections. It's in here somewhere. This is very, that's all about, I think it's in Section 8. I got to go back and read it. But it is definitely the role of the Congress and the duty of Congress to fund the government. So they are derelict in their duty, and they're yelling and screaming about the filibuster. It's really, they want more power, but they don't want to use the power that they actually already have, which is, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, stupid. Listen, we've got something that's not stupid. It is amazing. And it's called our Ho Ho Hold'em Charity Poker Tournament for K's Kids, which is a special times program of Dreams Come True of Jacksonville. And our Ho Ho Hold'em tournament is amazing. Every year we get together and we play poker at Best Bet, but we do it for charity. And every year we have so much fun. People dress up. We're in costumes. We have a $1,000 cash grand prize. $1,000 cash. That's what you could actually win. We have a trophy. We have a second place prize of $500 and of course the third place prize of $250. There are people that come back every single year and have been coming back every single year for like a decade. It's that popular. It's that exciting. Everybody loves it. And of course, all of the proceeds go to benefit our K's Kids charity, where we help kids. We buy them dream gifts at Christmas time. These are kids who are battling devastating, life-threatening illnesses. And they need our help. They need it. We've been able to help tons of them. We're going to help 12 more this year for the 12 days of Christmas. But before we do any of that, we get together and we play poker for a cause. And it's an amazing night. It's Thursday, December the 4th. 2025. It's just under a month away at Best Bet Jacksonville on Monument Road. And if you want tickets, go to www.kskids.com. You'll see there's different tiers of tickets. I recommend the VIK ticket because it's like, it's something you'll have never experienced in your entire life. You sit at the VIK table, the very important Catriot table. You sit next to me. Hannah will be my special guest. You get a VIK swag bag. You get on the live stream table. In addition to all of that, you get extra drink tickets. It's a party. It's the place to be. If you're going to come to the Ho Ho Hold'em charity poker tournament, which I hope you do, this is where you want to sit. We have regular tickets as well. If you're like, you know what, I want to go sit at a regular table, no problem. You get dinner included in the price. You get drink tickets included in the price, and you get entry into the tournament. Not only do we have the grand prizes, but we have a bevy, a ton of other great prizes that we give out periodically through the night, but you have to be there in order to win anything. So make sure you get your ticket. We have 6 tickets remaining at the VIK table. We do have spectator tickets. If you're, let's say, and this happens a lot, somebody's like, I want to come, but I want to bring my wife, but she doesn't want to play. Can she just hang out? So we have a spectator ticket available. You can get your wife a spectator ticket. She can eat, she can drink, she can hang out, she can watch you. Same, maybe you're the wife and your husband wants to come, but he doesn't want to play. Whatever, you can get your husband a spectator ticket and he can rub your shoulders and, you know, say, come on, honey, good job, and do all that great stuff. But whatever ticket you get it now, because these things go pretty quickly. www.kskids.com is where you go to get your tickets. www.kskids.com. Now, we've only promoted it on the podcast, but we're going to start hard promotion this weekend. We have emails going out. We have advertisements going out. We have all kinds of people that are going to be jumping at this. So if you want a ticket at the featured VIK table, or if you want a full table, we'll give you a discount. There's a limited number of all of those available, and I don't want you to miss out. So go there today, get your ticket, and join us December 4th for the Ho Ho Hold'em Charity Poker Tournament. www.kskids.com, or click the link in the show notes as well. You can do that if you want to get in on it. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, man, it's time. It's time. Hit the ding-a-ling, hit the button, hit whatever it is you need to do. Get that thing going. Get it going. Do it now. Subscribe to the podcast. Tell the podcast platform, oh yeah, I want this every single day. I want more of Mark K Saves the Republic. I want more of this great information. I want to be enlightened. I want to know exactly what's happening at all times in my country. I want all of that. And I want it delivered to me instantly without having to ask for it. All of that can happen if you hit the ding-a-ling, if you subscribe to the podcast. We'll get you that each and every single day, and a bunch of times during the weekend too, because we never rest. If Donald Trump's working, we're working, and that guy works all the freaking time. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had as much fun as I did. I hope you're excited to celebrate the retirement of Nancy Pelosi. That's very exciting. I hope you're excited to, watch what happens in New York City as they realize the massive mistake they've made by electing a con man to be the next mayor. A guy who's already scamming them out of their hard-earned money. And I hope that you're excited to see what the future holds in store, because I believe with President Donald Trump, shut down, schmut down, we are still living in the new golden age. We still have the biggest and brightest future ahead of us. And we will continue to make sure that together, all the Catriots, all the liberty-loving, freedom-defending Catriots from all over the United States and all over the globe will come together constantly to continue to fight for what's right, to fight for our freedom, to fight for our liberty, to fight for our American ideals and our Christian ideals, and to fight so that we can save the Republic. We were supposed to have an after party today. However, it's already 2:30 and we've got a gain call at 3, and I've got to do the podcast. So we will push the after party to